Superlatives right here, right here. You see, we got it right here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Cleveland-Denver game. Offense is your best defense sometimes. And what I mean by that, right, with offense is your best defense, to me, one of the things of the game and why I picked the Cleveland Browns to win the football game, and I think you did too, right? You picked Cleveland too, right?
Best bet. And
well,
picked the under.
Oh, that's right, Dave. You did double best bet.
I really.
Oh, suck it, Florio. Way to go, Broncos. Now I feel even better, right? I should have named this the suck it, Florio superlative. But either way, what I mean by the offense is their best defense, I just impressed the game plan by Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, and the fact that they didn't let Cleveland's defense win the game. You know, that's a big way in Cleveland and how they're trying to play right now, right? We know their offense, the quarterback situation, all that. You know, they're dependent on, we want to get a strip sack. We got to get an interception, pick sixes. That's how they've won a lot of these football games through their defense. And other than I believe a fourth down where the Broncos went for it on the Cleveland side and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah forced a fumble on Russell Wilson, for the most part, they played smart on that side of the ball. They ran the ball. They didn't let Cleveland's crazy pass rush and all the things they do on defense become the theme of the football game. They realized it was going to be tough and ugly, and they played that way. Understanding the big scope of the game, to me, that's where Sean Payton and Russell Wilson have gone next level here the last few weeks. It's just understanding what they got to do to win this football game right there. Offense made a few plays. They ran the ball surprisingly really well on Cleveland. I didn't expect that. And then Russell makes a magic play at the end to kind of put Cleveland away, and that's been the Broncos' recipe for success here as of late.
It really is amazing to see how they have turned it around, and it's a testament to what Sean Payton and Vance Joseph have been able to do. They bottomed out week 3, giving up 70 points against the Dolphins. They were 1-5. They've now won 5 in a row, and they are for real. And they play the Texans this weekend.
No, that's going to be good.
Wow,
yeah.
What a battle. Maybe an elimination game. I don't know. Now I got to revisit my whole Broncos, Texans, and Bills all make it. But the Broncos have really been incredible, and I thought it was going to run out for them because I thought the Browns were going to go in there and suffocate them on Sunday. And the Browns got down early. And and it just shows you, we talk about this all the time. You don't think of it in terms of points, think of it in terms of scores. But when you get a team with a great defense and a so-so offense, if you get them down 2 scores, that kind of changes everything, and it makes it so much easier to deliver the victory. And it wasn't 14-0, it was 2-0.
Yeah.
And the Browns still hung around, made
Definitely.
it close,
Fight
kept
back.
it interesting. And to the Broncos' credit,
they pulled back the momentum.
Away, yeah.
They did. Yeah, and I think to your point, you're right. Getting out early against Cleveland's a big thing because now their defense can't tee off. It doesn't become a pass game, right? For the most part of the day, they got to play the game on their terms. And then when they knocked out DTR on the football game with a brutal hit by Barrett Browning,
oh God,
that was kind of the moment where you're like, man, he was kind of making some plays, and you went, hey, this is not too big for him. Let's see if he can, bring them back in this football game. But he got crushed, and that was kind of all she wrote for Cleveland and their offense.
And think about this. We need to move on to the next one. But remember all that stuff Sean Payton said to Jarrett Bell back in late July, early August, and it was such a big stir, and it created a lot of sympathy for Nathaniel Hackett and a lot of acrimony for Sean Payton. When we kind of look back at it now, when you think about everything he said, Sean Payton was kind of right. He was kind of right. Look at what he's done to turn around Russell Wilson and how he bashed all the people who were part of the Broncos for not being the grown-up in the room, not coaching him the way he needs to be coached. He's gotten a lot more out of him. And Hackett has not been good this year with the Jets. He has somehow escaped. I wonder if one of the reasons he's escaped so much scrutiny is because what Payton said created this kind of we're just going to, it can't be Nathaniel Hackett. Well, maybe it is Nathaniel Hackett because who else is running that offense when Aaron Rodgers is gone? Like, what else do you do? What have you done to try to counter that? It hasn't worked. So anyway, it's gone 180 from when you look at the reaction to what Payton said and you look at how it all has come to fruition now. Everything he said was kind of right.
Well,
and everything he said is kind of bearing itself out.
The point is you don't say it.
Right. I know.
You don't do that to anybody.
I know.
And there was a lot of circumstances.
I don't think he thought he was on the record. I don't think he thought he was on the record, and he was on the record.
I understand that.
And he's not going to admit, I screwed up. I was on the record, and it's on me to say off the record.
Right.
It's on him to say off the record, and he knows that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And listen, we all make mistakes, and he obviously made one there, right? Yeah. We don't like throwing anybody under the bus, but at the end of the day, the point is Sean Payton's like a hell of a football coach. One of the best head coaches we've seen in the game over the last 20 years, let alone one of the best offensive minds. And everything he brings to the table is starting to show through the rest of his football team in Denver.
All right, my first superlative. Welcome back to the 400 Club. There's all sorts of clubs out there. Clubs you want to be in, clubs you don't want to be in, like the Mile High Club. I don't know if you really want to be in that.
Who doesn't want to be in the Mile High Club?
I don't know. The 700 Club.
Really?
And I thought of the 400 Club because of the 700 Club, and I never really knew what the 700 Club meant. I think it means, hey, people out there watching at home, send us $700. I think that's what the 700 Club
When I hear 700 Club, I just think of like home runs in baseball.
No, that's Pat Robertson.
But I do remember an old commercial of 700
Well, it was
Club
like
it
was like I don't want to get myself in any trouble.
Yeah.
But, the people on TV who prey upon those who don't want to go to hell, so send us a lot of money and you won't go to hell, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to go to hell for even saying that. The Steelers are back in the 400 Club for the first time in 58 games.
Wow.
No game
58 games.
for 58 straight with at least 400 yards of total offense. They got back their first time since week 2 of 2020, 424 yards without Matt Canada, Eddie Faulkner, and Mike Sullivan handling the offensive duties. Pat Freiermuth had a big day between the numbers, getting the ball down the field more than we've seen by Kenny Pickett. The running game was incredible. Najee Harris did really well. The defense was great. It helped to not face Joe Burrow. I think that game's a different outcome without Joe Burrow. And, by the way, Mike Tomlin almost blew the whole thing by not throwing the red flag. And he said after the game he didn't get a good look at it. But Deontay Johnson, we're going to talk more about this on Wednesday when we do after further review. But, man, you got to be ready. And Peyton has said in the past, when it's obvious that you need to throw the red flag, you hear 12 people in your headset saying throw the red flag. When it's not obvious,
it's crickets.
You don't hear
Nobody
anything.
wants to be the one that says
Nobody
throw
wants
the
to be
red
the one to
flag
say
and be
throw
wrong.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess it all happened too quickly, but that red flag needed to come out because that touchdown could have been the difference. For a while, it felt like,
Are they going to lose because of that
They're
play?
going to lose because they didn't get that touchdown.
Yeah, no, that was a big moment in the football game, definitely. And, it's an important part of the game. Hey, listen, we saw last night even with the Ravens, right, and Harbaugh. There was 2 plays where I go, you got the first down. Wait a second and challenge it because now you're going to go for it and not get it. And now they're going to have the ball when you really got the first down, and it was a bad spot.
That one was obvious. And then they do the direct snap to Gus Edwards. First of all, I know John Harbaugh, a very accomplished coach. I believe in what John Harbaugh does.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't believe in. Taking the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands on 4th and short. It's Lamar Jackson.
Well, or at least keep him in the backfield with the threat of the run.
Right.
It's part of what opens up your run game.
Yeah. And you snap it back to Gus Edwards that far, so he's got to not just gain what you need, but he's got to get back to the line of scrimmage in the first place.
Yeah.
That always drives me crazy. Runs out of shotgun, whether it's a handoff or the quarterback runs it on 4th and short. You've got to gain the yardage you're giving up by getting the ball in the first place.
You're not going downhill
that far.
as much. Right. No, there's some issues there. But back to your Pittsburgh superlative.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I took us off base there.
That's
with
all right.
The Ravens talk. I mean, you said it right. I think there was more of an aggressive mindset in the pass game. It wasn't like, oh, wow, this is unbelievable. But still, you could tell there was an emphasis, and we're going to push the ball down the field. Freiermuth definitely adds another element that he's healthy, that allows them to take advantage of the middle of the field. And, even before the Matt Canada firing, we were seeing inklings of the Steelers' O-line, starting to push people up around in the run game. Did a pretty good job of protecting Kenny Pickett there. Now the next thing is, like, all these yards and stuff got to translate to more points. That's the next thing we see with Pittsburgh, because all that and the positives we talk about, still, the game was 7-3, right? And it was late in the third quarter, and the Bengals were down in easy field goal range, and Browning threw a horrible interception to the left side to Thompson, and that's where the game changed forever right there, where you felt like, man, Cincinnati, it kind of feels like they're going to out Pittsburgh today and kind of defense and win ugly here. He throws that interception. Pittsburgh goes down and answers with a touchdown, and they controlled the game from that point on, and that was all she wrote.
One of the keys for the Steelers, too, and I asked Cam Hayward afterwards, scale of 1 to 10, how important was that offensive coordinator change to what we saw? And he said, I don't know how important it was, but you got to close ranks, rally around each other. It's easy to point the finger and say this is what happened, but at the end of the day, the players have to execute. And I think that's one thing that got lost in all the Matt Canada hatred. The players weren't executing. Kenny
Right.
Pickett was part of the problem, and now the players are executing. The offensive line is executing. It's just kind of like the kick in the butt they needed, and now they carry it forward and see how far it'll take them. All right, what else do you have?
Well, I'm going to give the upper quartile award to the Indianapolis Colts, right? They are officially in the upper quartile of
the upper
NFL.
quartile.
Yes.
The upper quartile of the upper quartile.
They're not in the upper quartile of the upper quartile.
Do they hang a banner for yesterday's game, though?
They might.
I don't think they hang a banner for the weak Jim Irsay had. We're not going to get into it, but I don't think they hang a banner for Jim Irsay's third week in November.
Well, if he says to hang a banner about himself, he is the owner. They should do that. All right, but I didn't know if to go with the upper quartile, or go back to one of my favorite things to say about the Colts.
The banner would say overcame prejudice against white billionaires.
You're funny. I was going to go more along. Did I do upper quartile, or do I go the blue wall's back? They're
That's
gonna
true.
Build a wall.
They're going to build the wall.
They right now, I mean, I think that's the thing that impressed me about the Colts yesterday. The Colts, their offensive line, Shane Steichen's creative run game to go along with it. That's a Tampa defense that's got some big people up front and can stop the run. The Colts dominated the trenches. There's no doubt on both sides of the football. Offensively, we're great running the football, protected Gardner Minshew. Defensively, their pass rush was all over Baker Mayfield in big moments of the football game. They got some things about their team that make them dangerous. Shane Steichen's an amazing head coach and one of the best offensive play callers in the game. Right? The run game, the O-line, really damn good. Minshew, as we see, can play the position, and he's going to make a few plays for you every game. And then they know how to, even though Michael Pittman Jr. might be a superstar, he's a really damn good receiver that does everything, and they know how to get him open, and he's tough and has no weakness to his game. So Colts are dangerous. They are. And that was a game yesterday where, they won by 7, but it felt like they had more control than that. It was another one where you felt like they should have won maybe by 2 touchdowns or so. But the Tampa hung in there, made some big plays to make it competitive. But way to go, Colts, getting the victory and being in the playoffs as we stand right now.
Extended opportunity this year for Gardner Minshew to maybe get someone else to say, we want him to be our starter next year. And if he gets to the playoffs, how do you not take him seriously next year? He's the kind of guy where when you go all in and get your cut-off jeans and your headband and your pack of cigarettes and you're all in with Gardner Minshew, grow the mustache, grow your hair, and you're full-blown Gardner Minshew, he lets you down.
Yeah.
And then when you write him off, it's kind of like, oh, wait, that was a pretty good play.
Well,
that was a pretty good game.
To what you said, he's kind of the guy when you have that look where they're like, most teams and football coaches, you know how they could be. They're going to go like, really? This is the guy the guy with the headband and the jorts on, we're going to let him lead the organization?
Not just jorts, the jorts with the pocket hanging under. It's cut so high that the pocket hangs out under.
It's horrible. It's a horrible look.
But
he's playing good
if they get to
football.
the playoffs, there's not enough bad quarterbacks to go around in the NFL. This guy is working his way into a real opportunity, not just the guy who holds the spot until we draft someone, but is the guy who you can make into your long-term option. All right, last one for me. This is the Remember the Name Award. It's a mild slap at the reality that Sean McVay likes name repetition, and he says everybody's name over and over and over and over again in press conferences. Hey, Chris. Oh, yes, Chris, that's a great question. Chris. How about Kyren? Let's remember Kyren Williams. My God.
Yeah.
There was a point yesterday in the second half where he had more yardage alone than the Cardinals did. And the Rams, remember that name too.
Yeah.
When we're parsing through the NFC playoff options.
Not out of it.
They swept the Seahawks. And they're breathing down the Seahawks' necks, and they have that tiebreaker because, did I mention, they swept the Seahawks? And when the Seahawks are in this death march from 49ers to Cowboys to 49ers to Eagles, and the Rams have games against teams like the Cardinals, when they have a history of destroying the Cardinals, and they destroyed them yesterday 37-14, and Kyren Williams is back and healthy, and he had a great game, the Rams are making the playoffs. Put me down right now. The Rams are getting in. And when you have if he's healthy in January, because who knows, Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, the Rams are going to be a tough team to beat when we get to the postseason, and I think they're making it.
I don't disagree with a lot of what you said there. Stafford's awesome. The defense is really damn good. It's creative. It's fast. It's physical. right? So, and then Raheem Morris is one of the best D coordinators in the game. The big thing will be, and what they did yesterday was impressive to your point. We haven't seen anybody really dominate the Cardinals like that all year. The Cardinals have been a pain in the butt and stayed in just about every game. This one, they could not stay or keep pace with the Rams. Stafford's health, he is phenomenal. We know that. You said it, Cooper, Kupp, Nakua, they're great. But what happened yesterday to me is we got to continue to see that. Because it looked like on a number of plays, like Arizona doubled Cooper Kupp. They're like, oh, you're not going to throw to him there. And then then we got Tutu Atwell. If you weren't worried about Puka Nakua and Cooper Kupp, or you're going to make your whole defense about stopping them, we got some other avenues in which we can beat you. Early on, it was Tutu Atwell. Then it became the run game. If they can run the ball like they did yesterday, at least to some capacity like that, with Matthew Stafford at quarterback and McVay calling the plays and that defense, you're damn right. They're going to be a pain in the ass, and I wouldn't want to see them in the NFC playoffs.
They're 5-6.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look, we know it's going to be Eagles, Cowboys out of the NFC East. It's going to be the Lions out of the NFC North, unless they continue to fall apart, which is entirely possible. It's going to be the 49ers out of the West.
Yeah.
When you get into the 6 and 7 seeds, you've got right now the Vikings at 6 and 5, the Packers at 5 and 6. The Packers are in this.
I know.
New Orleans at 5 and 6, second place for now
right.
in the NFC South. Either them or Atlanta 5 and 6. Seattle 6 and 5, and the Rams 5 and 6, and two of those teams are getting in.
Yeah.
And a lot of them aren't.
I hear you. You know, the Rams still got the 49ers on the schedule one more time. They got the Browns this week, and they got the Ravens after that. So those will be, big tests. But, I'm with you in the fact that, first off, the teams we're seeing at the bottom of the NFC playoff picture, I'm not sitting there going, oh, these teams are going to win out. I mean, Seattle, Minnesota, we've certainly seen some cracks in the armor there. Those spots are up for grabs. We'll see if your Vikings can take advantage of things tonight and beat the Bears and kind of take control of their own situation a little bit more.
Huge game tonight for the Vikings with huge implications on whether or not they're going to have one of those two spots. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.